So I've just recently discovered GNU Emacs Calculator, or calc for short, and I have to tell you, I'm a little disappointed in myself for dismissing this calculator for so long. You know, I've Emacs search calculator and just assumed that this was some text-based arithmetic calculator, but it is so much more. I mean, it can do symbolic algebra, it can solve equations, systems of equations, it can do regression, it can plot, the list goes on and on. So we're definitely not going to cover all of it in this video, but what I am going to show you today is how to open the calculator and how to navigate through the windows of the calculator. The other important thing is how to do arithmetic, because the default mode is based on reverse Polish notation, which makes use of a stack to keep track of the operands of operations, which might be a little different from what you're used to. So we're going to spend some time looking at the operations of addition, multiplication, subtraction, exponentiation, division, and the unary operation of negation. In addition to that, we'll take a look at how to find the principal square root of a value, and I think that will be enough for this video. So let's go ahead, open Emacs, and let's start discovering this super fantastic app called Calc. All right, now that we are in Emacs, we are going to open up the calculator. I'm going to use Emacs search calc, and we can see that we get the Emacs calculator here. And it opens two windows up here. There's a window to the left, which is where the stack is located. That's the calculator that we're going to be using. And I can move around like any other Emacs windows. And the window to the right is the trail. And you can sort of think of this as the history for the Emacs session. So when you quit Emacs and come back in, that trail will reset. Now, there's another way to open up calc, so we're going to go Control X followed by star, which will bring up the calc dispatch. And because it's a dispatch, we are going to be given some options. Now, they're not visible right away, so we can use the question mark to bring up our options. And we can see here that we have calc, keypad, quick, embed, exit, info, tutorial, and grab. Now, since we're just getting used to the calculator, we are going to use uppercase C for calc, and that is going to open up the default reverse Polish notation calculator. Now, again, I'm going to quit out of this and get into the mode we're going to be using today, which is called full calc. And this is going to open up the calculator in full screen mode, meaning that we're going to have a window dedicated to the calculator and a second window dedicated to the trail. Now we are currently in the left window. This is the calculator mode. This is where the stack is located. You see we have this dot here that is representing the top of the stack. Now, because these are windows, I can move between them. So I'm going to move over to the right window. And this is the trail window. Now, we're not going to spend very much time in here today, but this is where a history is being kept of all the calculations that we're doing and inputs. Now, we move between these two windows a lot. So another way to do this is by pressing T for trail, and then I can press O to move out of the trail window. Now, to move back into the trail window, I can press T and then I for in. Anyway, I can just toggle between these two windows quite easily. So we're looking at the stack. The dot represents the top of the stack, although as I start entering things into the stack, you can see it's actually at the bottom. So I have entered 2 into the stack. It is at position 1. Position 1 is the top of the stack. Now, if I want to add, say, 3 to 2, I need to add the operand of 3 to the stack. So I can go ahead and type in 3, and that will be placed on the stack. So we can see that I have 2 values on my stack. 3 is now at the top at position 1, and we have our 2. Now, to add these together, all I need to do is press the plus sign, and what that's going to do, it's going to take both of these operands off the stack, do the operation, so add them together, and then it's going to place the result back at the top of the stack. So we have our 5 here. Now, to undo something on the stack, we can use lowercase u to undo and uppercase D to redo. Again, that is lowercase u to undo and uppercase D to redo. Now, what I'm going to do now is find the product of 5 and 4. So I'm going to need to add 4 to my stack, and then I can use star to find that product. I'm now going to use lowercase q to undo that. And now I'm going to show you how I can change the place of the two operands at the top of the stack by pressing the tab key. And you can see that the place of these two operands has changed. And since multiplication is commutative, we should expect the same result. So we can delete the top value on the stack by using the backspace key. So I can see here that my stack is now empty again and my cursor is on the dot. So what I'm going to do now is just add a bunch of values to my stack. And oops, I've made a mistake here. I've typed in 66, but I meant 6. So I can use my backspace and replace 66 with 6 at the top of my stack. And let's go all the way up to 9. Notice that each of the value on the stack is indexed using a value. Notice my cursor is not at the end of the stack, and I can now press the plus sign and it will automatically start adding the last two values at the top of the stack. And I can keep pressing the plus sign and I can add up all the values on my stack all the way up to a stack with a value of 45. So that's the sum of the values from 1 through 9. Now that we have this value of 45 on the stack, let's divide it by 5. And to do this, we add 5 to the stack and /, which gives us a value of 9. Let's back this up, clear the stack, and show the operation of exponentiation. And let's take a look at the example of 2 to the power 4. So we're going to add 2 to the stack here, followed by a 4, and then we're going to use the caret symbol here. And in my case, I'm using a Mac keyboard that's Swedish, so I'm going to have to press enter after this, and that returns a value of 16. Let's undo that and change the order of those operands, so 4 to the power of 2, and caret again for the operation of exponentiation. Again, we get 16. Now this isn't always true because exponentiation is not commutative. So let's do 2 to the power of 3, which is going to give us 8. Let's undo that, change the order of those operands and operation of exponentiation, giving us a value of 9. So exponentiation is not commutative. Now, there is one operation that we have not talked about, and that is the operation of subtraction. So let's go ahead and add some operands in here. Using the minus sign, we find the difference of 5 and 3, which is 2. Now let's try this example again using the definition of subtraction. So I'm going to place my operand of 5 onto the stack, and then I need -4. So I press the minus sign, and I get an error, too few elements on the stack. And that's because the minus sign is used for the binary operation of subtraction, and cannot then be used for the unary operation of negation. So a way around this is to use the key N after placing the 4 on the stack, and that will toggle the value between 4 and -4. Alternatively, you can enter 5 on the stack and use _4 for -4, getting it a value of -4 directly at the top of the stack, and then you can add them together to get a value of 1. I'm going to clear that, and we're going to do one last example. And this is one from the documentation. So we're going to get 2 times 4, which is 8, and that is the first term. Then we're going to have a second term here, which is going to be 7 multiplied by 9.5. So we can go ahead and multiply those values together, and we have our third term, which is going to be 5 divided by 4. So entering our operands and then dividing those, and at the end we can add our 3 terms by just pressing the plus key. Ooh, did I say that was the last example? I have one more. It's a Pythagorean triple. 3 squared plus 4 squared is equal to 5 squared. So let's go ahead and do this last one. We have 3 and 2 added to the stack. Let's go ahead and square those values, giving us a first term of 9. Let's add 4 and 2 to the stack, square the 4, giving us 16, adding the 2 terms together, giving us 25, taking the principal square root of 25 by pressing uppercase Q, giving us a value of 5. I think that's enough for this introduction to GNU Emacs calculator, calc for short. My name is Mark. Thank you for watching.